Chris and Sam here from Valua Capital. Going to talk a little bit about startup finances today and what it takes to get a startup to the next level, from seed stage to Series A. Sam, you've worked a lot with startups in your prior accounting practice. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've seen as key levers that a startup can pull to take their business to the next level?
Good question, Chris. A lot of small tech startup owners are always wondering what kind of KPIs and financial metrics are important to look at when viewing the feasibility or viability of a growing tech company. I would say that you definitely want to focus on your profit and loss statement. You want to project, you want to see, usually in a tech startup, most of the items are going to be on the expense side, because in a startup, you're really not experiencing much revenue in the first few years. You're mainly experiencing a lot of capital expenditure and expenses, such as payroll from the staff, office overhead, any sort of consulting fees or web development fees that a tech company can face. Otherwise, usually when the company starts to experience that revenue, you definitely want to see how much money it costs to earn that each dollar of revenue. So for each dollar of revenue, if it's costing you more to earn that revenue, then you might not be viable in the long run. A good example is some of the large companies out there right now, such as Uber. Uber has been experiencing financial losses. Ironically, a lot of people don't know that. And yeah, you want to definitely look at your bottom line. You want to keep track of your expenses. You want to budget. You want to make sure that you don't run into liquidity issues.
When it comes to developing a forward-looking plan to present to investors, founders will often find themselves thinking about how much they should be putting in their budget, right? They could probably spend millions and millions of dollars if they had the capital, but what do you suggest their approach to be if they're going to be developing a ground-up budget? Should they throw everything in there? How do they identify what milestone, how much expenses they should throw in their budget and what milestones they should achieve?
Good question. That we could approach this in numerous ways. I would definitely suggest that the way they should focus and build their budget should be around what their goal is. Are they looking to raise capital in the short run? Are they looking to rapidly grow and scale? Are they looking to reach a certain amount of subscription-based revenue? Really, it depends on their next goal, right? So, right. For example, if they're looking for a next round capital raise and they want to kind of have the next investor buy in at a certain price to have their private company valued more, they might be looking to increase some sort of metric in which the valuation is based off of. Right. So, and that might be hard to do for a private company, because usually you only know that when the investor actually goes to make you some sort of investment offer. They'll let you know, they'll use some third party to kind of come up with a valuation number. So really, again, this whole ties back into what the goal is for the tech company. So there's many different types of goals, so really depends.
And what do you find the main roadblocks to be when it comes to raising capital for startups? You always hear stories of, there's some success stories of startups who are able to raise millions of dollars from strong venture capitalists, and then there's other startups that they develop a product and a technology, they have a bit of revenue, but they're not able to raise that first or second round of capital, and they end up shutting down. What do you think the difference is that sets the two apart? Is it leadership? Is it the product? Is it budgeting?
It's like a melting pot. There's so many factors. Now, there's the factors where, is the company a quality company? Does it have quality staff? And sometimes, sometimes some of the best companies with lots of potential don't end up raising capital. They just go over missed. They don't have the financial expertise. They might have great developers on the team. They might have a great product. They just don't have the financial know-how. They don't have the right industry contacts. to reach out to. So really, it's not only a formula of how great the company is and how great the product is. There's also a bit of luck in the mix. There's also a little bit of knowing the right people. So there's just a
knowing the right resources.
Having the right resources.
Yeah, and I think that's important too. Like you look around right now during COVID, or even before that, there's a lot of grants available both in the US and Canada. There's a PPP loan in the US, and in Canada there's some programs. Stimulus that's available to companies, and
commercial rent
some startups aren't even taking advantage of it because maybe they don't know about it, they don't know how to take advantage of it, or they missed the boat, they didn't get in early.
Yeah, and even another factor is, or example is shred credits.
Shred credits, yeah.
But yeah, I do agree, and just having a professional who can kind of guide you into the direction, and even, listen to what the company's experiencing, listen to the symptoms. Similar to when a sick patient goes to see a medical doctor, the doctor listens to the symptoms. A good CFO or financial consultant will listen to the symptoms of a company. For a tech startup, there's a lot of symptoms it could be facing, whether it's liquidity, future revenues, overreaching the budget on certain expenses, too much payroll costs. There's just so many factors, and you just got to be able to diagnose and see what quick recommendations, because in the early startup phase, the company is very sensitive to small changes, because any sort of wrong move can set it off track and can really make it not as attractive to another round investment from a venture capital, an angel investor, any sort of first round early investment.
Yeah, and I think you said something that's interesting. Small changes can affect a startup in a big way. When it comes to hiring, obviously if you're a small company, just hiring one or two key individuals could make or break your company because they play such an important impact on the company. And today, with everyone working from home currently, do you think that opens up the playing field for startups to have remote co-founders or remote management personnel across the world, or even in different countries?
Good question.
Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
What you said, you hit the nail on the head with that being in a small tech company or small startup business, roles are not as defined. You got one person doing marketing and he's also doing HR. You got another person doing 3 different departments. It's so cross-functional, and people are diving into different duties, and it's not a big established blue chip company. You got just the owners can be helping out with sales. Hiring the right person can really change the outcome of the company. Hiring the wrong person can cause your company to go under.
Yeah.
So it really, and now that with the COVID and the remote staffing, you're able to potentially attract much more talented individuals across the world working on different time zones. There's pros and cons to that as well, with meetings and communication between the teams. So really, I would say that it's just how you spin it off. It could be used as an advantage. It could also be a disadvantage. It depends on how well the teams are communicating and sharing information, and just being well integrated. Because when you're building a company, I feel that, especially a tech startup company, the product development team's got to talk to the marketing team's got to talk to the BD team, and the sales ops got to talk to the sales team. So you got everybody's mixing in. The founders are in the board meetings, they're meetings with investors, so they're just being pulled and pushed in all different types of directions. So really just having the great communication, you whether it's Zoom meetings, whether it's Slack meetings, those are all very important factors.
And it seems like the last thing that gets the attention, but it's still very important, is the accounting and finances. What kind of options do founders have? I mean, when it comes to getting their finances done and their accounting done, and what do you say best practices are in that regard?
Good question. I mean, look, they've got different options. I mean, a company could bring someone in-house, and they would have to really have a taste for recruiting strong individuals. And if they themselves haven't worked in accounting and finance, it might be hard for them to identify talent. They can use an external recruiter to find them somebody, but again, they're going to be paying such a hefty finder's fee. And their other option really is to kind of hire a consulting firm, outsource it, You don't have to worry about the human resource aspect of scouting, finding talent. You know, it's a proven consultant who've worked with many similar types of clients, helped raise different sorts of capital for different tech companies, and really has a track record for performance and just results.
That's great. Yeah, and when it comes to Valua Capital, maybe you can shed some light on the services that Valua Capital offers in particular?
Yeah, so obviously we started Valua Capital knowing that there is a demand for these types of expertise or financial consultants. We all know that there's some very talented individuals, very talented developers, talented marketers out there with great tech ideas or business ideas that they want to build this company. They just, they don't have that skill set to bring it to the next level, to raise that capital, get the company moving, be able to have capital to hire good employees and just dump some money into marketing. Well, we are there to help. We're very affordable. We're not expensive. If you're to hire a very good, CFO in-house, you shouldn't expect to spend less than $150K a year, $120K a year even, and it can go up from there based on the amount of years. Whereas you could probably pay a fraction of that fee and get really talented and connected people in the industry to help you achieve your goal of raising that capital.
Got it. Well, that's very helpful, Sam. I appreciate the insight.
Thank you, and appreciate it as well.